Is it filming?
Go.
All right, go. Okay, so we got the cold brew container, we have the coffee, we have the filter, we have the backup filter. So this is nylon mesh. This is reusable. It's not disposable. You wash it and use it again. So be careful not to throw it. Basically, we line the inside like so. Has an elastic band on the outside. Then we grab one of these paper filters. And this mesh is to protect against this paper filter ripping, which it will rip, most likely. And we don't want grounds to be in our coffee. So there's one side that's, we open it. There we go. Up. You can't rip it, use scissors. And we have great smelling coarse ground coffee. It's coarse ground. We're going to pour it inside. Do you want to take a close up? So we have the nylon mesh on the outside and the paper filter on the inside, and then we're going to pour this in. And at this point, I would recommend grabbing a step stool to get a better view from the top. Now we're going to get a stream and have it on the ready, because what we're going to do, it's a very similar principle to how we do French press. You know, when you do French press, the first thing that you do is that you let the coffee bloom and make sure that it saturates and it degasses. So similarly, what we're going to do is we're going to put about 7 quarts of water to allow this coffee to bloom as well. And you'll notice some degassing. And the other thing is that we're trying to eliminate any dry pockets, because if I were just to pour water on a bag that was tied, the water will not penetrate all the way through. Here you go, RJ. So the water is not going to penetrate all the way through. What will happen is we'll have these dry pockets, and we can't have that. So what I did is I poured 4 quarts of water, and I'm going to do 3 more. So now I have a total of 7. And here I can just pour straight in, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab either a wooden spoon or a rubber spatula, something that's not rough, because I'm going to go against the edges and I don't want to rip the paper. Okay, so what we're trying to do is not rip the paper. And you can see that you could actually create these lumps of dry coffee, and we want to avoid that. So with these 7 quarts of water, we're going to mix it to create almost like a slurry that will not have any dry pockets, because once the water is in between the ground, then the water will find a way to penetrate and brew the coffee. But if an outer coating is formed and the water doesn't penetrate, then it won't brew the coffee. You'll have this dry pocket.
So homogeneous?
Yes, we want to homogenize it, is essentially what it is. Make sense? So what I do is I do kind of like a chopping motion. I try not to go all the way to the edges, because again, I'm trying to protect the filter from ripping. And I kind of stab it around. Now, the good thing to do is to scoop it from the edges and go inward, just to make sure that, that there's no dry pockets. And I think I think we got most of it. Once we did our initial 7, we're going to do 7 more. Now at this point I could tie it up and it would be fine, and I'm just pouring on the outside of the bag. But I'm just going to pour a little bit more on the inside. You can see some degassing, right? Alright. Smells really good too. Alright, there's definitely no dry pockets in this. This is good. That extra gram of coffee that I just poured in, that made the difference. That was a joke. Thank you. I need the sympathy laugh. All right.
No, I thought it was fine.
Oh, okay, good. So we're gonna tie this around, and what we're gonna do is we're just gonna do a simple knot. This knot doesn't need to be able to come off. This knot can be a permanent knot, because what we will do when this coffee is ready, we're gonna, first thing is gonna drain it, because we don't want to try to lift this when it's wet and saturated, because it's too heavy. And we don't want to pull this because it's just gonna rip apart. So now we just put the remaining amounts of water. Okay, I think I'm short 1 quart. There we go. And that's it. So now what we do is we put the lid on it, and we label it when it's going to be ready. So 16 hours from this time, and it'll be ready. That's it.
Stop it.
That's stop it. Yeah.